All right, so today is September 3rd, 2019, and I am in Abington, Virginia. I'm SparkySINN. By the way, I haven't been saying my freaking name at all. I don't have a real, I have a really loose formula here. This may end up being a goddamn disaster. I probably, that's the problem with, and this whole trip has been that way. It's not a disaster, it's been great. But, as far as, formula goes, man, I am just winging it like crazy. And maybe that'll make this interesting, or it will not be interesting. I probably should say who I am. Maybe I'll record an intro. It's not worth talking about. I'm wasting tons of time on this thing. Okay, Tuesday, September 3rd, 2019, and I am going to talk about the final day of me. Okay, I'm going to be talking about August 28th, Wednesday, August 28th, 2019, which was my last night and last day and night at Lake Shawnee Haunted Amusement Park in Rock, West Virginia. The owner, Chris White, a great guy, was nice enough to allow me to spend the night at Lake Shawnee for 2 nights. I was only supposed to be there for 1. I only paid for 1, but he liked my project idea and we got along great. And he told me he'd give me a second night for free, which was really great. So I got to stay at this haunted amusement park by myself. Anyways, so, and I kind of already explained the haunted stuff in the previous video. So, I mean, if you can go look that up. But, there's a Native American burial ground. A little girl died on the swing set, and a boy drowned. And there's other rumors about how people died. Chris did not confirm them. There's nothing saying that. I'm sure he would probably mention them, but then again, I'm not sure because his dad was the second owner. I don't really know, I'm not sure. How would I know? Don't ask me. Go look it up. Leave me alone. I mean, I'm supposed to be the guy telling you what's going on, right? Whatever, dude. Freaking idiot. Okay. All right. So, getting to the point. I woke up that day. Didn't wake up early because I had stayed up all night. Woke up. Chris was mowing. The owner, Chris, was mowing the grass. And I woke up and I was getting all geared up, right? Because I had my RV there, and he was nice enough to, there's power for my RV and everything. That was really cool. I was able to, pretty much do anything that I would ever want. If I have power in my RV, then everything's so much more nice because I can really, do anything, So anyways, I got all ready for the day, and then he comes up to me in the mower, and we have a nice conversation. I told him kind of what I did the night before, and he thought it was cool. I showed him my guitar that I didn't show him the day before, my beautiful chrome and gold resonator. Yeah, so, and we had a cool conversation. And then I went about recording guitar because I wanted to get more really nice day shots, and it was a much better day the second day. There was a lot of clouds the first day. It was really cloudy, and that's not, I mean, that helps to film, but it's not as fun to enjoy. So it's super sunny, perfect weather. I can't imagine a better day. Absolutely beautiful day. I had such a wonderful time by myself, recording. It was so tranquil. It was like meditation, man. It felt like I was on an island, and this place is surrounded by mountains on all sides. Okay, literally you're on an oasis. It's this flat spot, and there's mountains on all sides of you, and it's super surreal and just beautiful. So I recorded all day. That went smoothly. There really wasn't too much to talk about with that. I just had a beautiful day. I picnicked out on the picnic tables by the amusement park rides, and it was great. Okay, so, and then the sun sets, and I had the most beautiful sunset ever. because, you know, the sky was so clear. I'm so glad I got to stay a second night, because that first night was cloudy and kind of misty and a little rainy, and the second night is just perfect in every way. The ground wasn't even wet, you know, but the sun sets, and there's actually this purple sunset like nothing I'd ever seen before. Like, you don't get, like, as the sun set, the sky turned purple, and then everything around me, and I got this great video of that too, like proof of it. It's so amazing. Everything turned purple, like, and then, like, you know, the song America the Beautiful, like, it's like the lyric in that, you know, Purple Mountain Majesty, where that's got to be what they're talking about, where everything was purple, and I was able to spin around, and like all the mountains were just purple, and like all the rides and everything just looked purple, and it was just crazy. So this place I'm at right now is beautiful and crazy. The Martha Washington Spa Hotel and Spa. This place is beautiful. But anyways, another beautiful place that I've been, right? So I got the best sunset ever, and kind of ended just this beautiful, tranquil day of me just recording guitar and doing what I love, you know. So I had to wait for all my equipment to charge up for the night shoots, because this time I was like, I'm gonna kill it, because I got, you know, such a better environment. So it goes into night, and I didn't do as much live streaming. I did a little bit of live streaming, but like I feel like I covered it the night before, and I wasn't about to go on another damn adventure. I had much better weather, but I'm not gonna, you know, it's just such a brutal, it was a brutal trek. Like, going through that haunted house, you know, it was a lot longer and bigger than I thought. I got like lost in that thing, but yeah, so I wasn't gonna do that again. So I ended up, I did a little bit of a live stream, and people wanted me to play guitar, but I didn't end up doing that. And after that, you know, I set out to do what I was there for, you know, which was recording guitar at some of the most haunted places in the world, right? So I got out my light, and I set out to do my thing, right? And I started getting good footage, and I got lots of good footage and good stuff. And I actually used my my rhythm shaker stuff, my feet rhythm shakers, for the first time in a video on this trip, because I didn't really, you know, I had a way to do that. I usually just did guitar on all these videos, because the shaker things are kind of loud and annoying, and I don't know, I'm not trying to disturb people. But anyways, that went really well, okay? And I was going through the night, and I was recording in front of the amusement park ride, the actual Ferris wheel. And I was recording in front of the Ferris wheel, and then, you know, 3 o'clock rolls around. Chris had mentioned to me that other camera crews that go there, like the Travel Channel goes there all the time, apparently, and they wanted to bring fog to this place. But he told them, he's like, you don't need fog, just show up at 3 in the morning. And I was like, and it, you know, and it seems like, and he says that, and I was like, yeah, man, I mean, I saw the fog and didn't think much of it when he said that. And like, it's funny, he's like, all they had to do is wake up at 3 in the morning, and then you don't need a fog machine, because, you know, and basically at 3 in the morning, the fog started showing up. I started noticing, I'm like, oh God, no. Like, he's not lying. Like, it's a cool effect, but it screws with my camera. Like I said, it can't focus because it goes in and out, so it's hard to get focus on when you're doing that. You know, when there's fog, it just doesn't know where I am. And plus, I have to use my phone, because my GoPros can't see in the day, or I mean at night. They're very bad at night vision. So yeah, 3 starts happening, and I'm like, I gotta go over to the swings and get some more in front of the swings where the little girl died. And so I run over there and start recording in front of the swings, and that shot went much better. I wish the night before that I had realized that I had to be, with the swings I can be much closer to the camera, because you can capture the whole scene behind me. But with the, you know, with the Ferris wheel, it's so far away and so big. Once you, like, in order to capture the whole Ferris wheel, you gotta have the camera a million miles away, and once fog happens, it just never will focus. So I get to the swings and I got a bunch of good shots there, and I'm recording me playing in front of the swings with my bright 5,000 lumen light, and everything's looking good and sounding good, and it's real tranquil. You know, when you're by yourself, it's this super surreal, you know, experience where you know, it's a scary place, and all these places are scary, but then, like, you're by yourself and it's quiet, and, you know, sometimes you get scary vibes and stuff, but it's like a powerful energy in the air, and it's a beautiful thing. Like, I'm not scared of much, and I haven't really had too many scary things happen so far. You know, just the vibe of a beautiful, kind of like powerful place, right? It's supposed to contain spirits and energy. It's a really great thing. And so, yeah, so the fog rolls through, like I said, and I'm recording at like 3 in the morning, and basically I was taking still shots of myself standing in front of this thing, in front of the swing, when I see flashlights across the pond. Nobody was supposed to be at this place. I'm completely alone, staying at this place, Lake Shawnee, haunted, abandoned amusement park, by myself in my RV. No one's supposed to be there. No one's supposed to show up. And at 3 in the morning, I'm sitting there taking pictures, and I look across the pond, and there's a bunch of flashlights. And these flashlights are around my RV. And that's the thing, dude. I started freaking out, right? What do you even do? 3 in the morning, you're out in the middle of nowhere. I told you I had bad vibes, like, about, like, it was the area, not so much the place itself. Just like I was worried, you know, to be by myself in that area in my RV. And I see these flashlights surrounding my RV, and I'm across the pond. I'm like, oh shit, because I didn't lock my RV, right? Because I didn't think anything of it. I'm out in the middle of this park in the middle of nowhere. Wouldn't even think about it, right? It's like, I don't know. Felt like I was on an oasis, but I was surrounded by other people and surrounded by stuff. So I should have thought about that. But basically, I throw all my gear, I take off all my stuff, my wearable shakers, like my percussion stuff, and my guitar, and I put it all away really quick. I shut off my big light. I have no idea how these people did not see my enormous light. Like, even from the road, you'd definitely see that and know that I was recording. Like, my shadow alone would have projected massively. It was easily the brightest light in the park by far. It should have been super obvious, and maybe they did notice and they thought I'd be cool, but it wasn't cool. Like, I shut off my light, I put away all my gear, I'm freaking out because I'm like, I think I'm gonna die, right? Like, it was some real stuff. It was no joke, really terrible. And so, like, it was a pretty jarring experience. So once I get all my stuff put away, there's about a 5-minute gap between the last picture I took, and I think in the last picture I took, you can see I'm blurry, because I think I actually captured the moment where I look over and saw these people, and it was pretty terrifying. But there's a 5-minute gap in between the live stream that I did and that. So basically, what I did is I didn't have any weapons. I had no idea what I was gonna do, and so I'm sitting there with a guitar. I have a light stand with my bright light on it. I have, like, no real weapons. I had pepper spray, but it was in my RV. My RV's unlocked. So basically, my plan, it was not even a thought out plan. I just did whatever I thought I could in survival mode, which was I grabbed my bright light. I'm like, I'm gonna hit my live stream on my phone. The safest thing I thought I could do was go live on the internet and just, you know, have all these people on Facebook hopefully watching me. Because other than that, like, I had no way of knowing, you know, I wasn't gonna call 911 right away. Honestly, it seems like putting it on Facebook's a much safer way. So I see these people by my RV. I start walking the path towards my RV, around the pond, and I had my phone ready to go live. I should have went live right away. I did that wrong. I should have had it live the whole time. But I grabbed the light stand that was holding the stand. There was like this heavy duty stand that holds the light that I have. And I grabbed that. And I grabbed my bright 5,000 lumen battery powered light and my phone, and that's all I had. And my plan was to, if they came near me, I have my light stand and it's heavy duty and I'm going to hit them with it, right? And I have my blinding light, and I guess that was my plan. I don't really know. It was really not much of a thought out thing. It was just kind of how it went, you know. But so I walk along the path towards where they were, and they started walking towards me. That's when things got scary, because then I squatted on the path. I saw them coming because they had flashlights, so they weren't ghosts. For the people who thought they were ghosts and made jokes about that, these were not ghosts. They had flashlights, and ghosts don't carry flashlights. Okay. So I squat down on the path. I set down my gear and I get ready to go live. I was gonna name it something. I just hit live, and I squat on the path and I didn't pay any attention. And these people start getting close to me, probably like 30 feet, within 30 feet of me. And I, you know, as I'm freaking out, I can see that they probably can see me because my phone light is on my face, right? And and they have their little flashlights, but they had tiny flashlights, especially compared to me. They had nothing. So I'm squatting, and then once I thought I was live, I just stood up with my bright flashlight, my super beam 5,000 lumen light, and just blasted them in the face with it. Turn it on and just hit them. And luckily for me, they started running away like crazy, because honestly, that light is so bright it's gonna blind you. So hopefully, you know, it blinded them pretty good. You know, it blinded me every time I went anywhere near it, and so I'm sure it had to have blinded them instantly. So I just blast them. They're probably blinded. They just bolt. And I decide, I don't know what this is. My move was to run after them. And so I run after them, and I'm chasing them. I start chasing them, and I'm like, stop! Which, why would I yell stop? There were 6 of these people, by the way. This was 6 people, and I'm yelling stop. It's like, it's insane. I had no chance. 6 versus 1, like they could have jumped me, taken all my stuff. So I'm yelling stop. I'm running after them with my light stand and my light and my phone, and they run away, and they're running, and I drop my light stand finally, because I'm like, okay, they're not gonna be fighting, they're running. And I keep my light in my hand and my phone in my hand, and I run them all the way out of the park yelling stop. And the thing is, my live stream, this is what sucks. You gotta start your live streams early if something bad happens, because it didn't connect for 5 seconds or so, maybe 10, which is within this action. You know, like I said, I hit the live button and pretty well went into action thinking it was gonna go live, and it didn't. So you don't get to see me chasing the people, which was, and yelling at them. You just get to see me, you get to see me chasing them, but you don't get to see how what caused it, which is too bad, because, like, you know, that's the real proof. But basically, yeah, I run after them, and that live stream shows this part where I ran after them, and I saw them in the woods, and I could have probably pursued them further, and I was chasing them with my light, and then I shut off my light because I'm like, they're gonna see me. And then I was just sitting there in the dark, because I'm like, the only thing that shows where I am is the bright light that I have. And instead of like giving away my location, I want to, like, I don't know what I was thinking. You don't chase after 6 people and then tell them to stop and think that you can, you know, and if they did stop, like, what was I gonna do? You know, if they'd actually listened to what I was doing and what I told them to, it would have been a really bad disaster. But you know what? Luckily, they took my bluff and thought I was a threat. You know, I could have had a gun, you know, and I didn't. But, yeah, they didn't, you know, they ran away, and I ended up freaking out, you know, as you would, and went back to camp, and I was just like, you know, on the live stream, like, holy freaking out, right? Like, oh my God, I'm gonna die, and I'm worried that they're gonna come back. Like, I'll be honest, guys, could you imagine though, like, I was yelling stop, if they would have actually stopped? I'm so scared, like, thinking of that, because I was yelling stop, and I think one of them kind of slowed down, and if they would have stopped, I would have stood there and been like, oh, and then they would have realized that I'm one guy, and that's a problem. Because my guess is that these were probably teenagers, but there's nothing saying they were or they weren't. They were definitely, could have been adults. It could have been anything. It's 3 in the morning on a weekday. I mean, some of these kids are probably not back in school, so I'm going to guess that they were just having their last party before the summer's over. But you really don't know, you know? And some high school students, it smelled like weed, and they left beer when they ran. So they were drinking and just partying on somebody else's private property, which is not okay. But so they could have been bad. There's plenty of stories of teenagers doing horrible things to people, like killing hobos or whatever, weird things, you know? So you don't know who you're dealing with, and they're locals and I'm not. Very terrifying. So once they left, I went back to my RV and I'm like freaking out. I call Chris, the owner, and I'm like, I don't know what to do. If I should call the cops, I'm not sure what I'm doing. He didn't answer the phone, obviously. I had to leave a voicemail. So I was just freaking out, and he didn't answer. So I called my mom and I'm like, dude, and luckily she answers because she's in a different time zone than me. And I'm like, what do I do? She's like, call the cops. So I called the cops, and the cops are like, okay, we'll send somebody out. So I pack up all my gear, put it back in my RV, and sitting around, I'm waiting for the cops. So I live stream while I'm doing that, thinking, you know, if something happens or whatever. I'm trying to explain to my Facebook friends and stuff, like, I don't want them to, you know, think I'm dying, which I could have been. Like, you know, the last live stream they saw of me was Blair Witch. Like, I was literally running terrified, and so I wanted to explain to them that I wasn't dying yet. I waited for the cops at 3 in the morning till 5 in the morning, and no cops showed up at all. Like, literally, it's the worst thing ever, because, like, what if I would have been jumped? You know, I could have died, and these people, nobody showed up. I could have been dead. And they may get a bunch of prank calls, and maybe get a lot of calls from that place. I don't know. And they may not think it's a problem because they're out in the middle of nowhere, and they probably have one cop or whatever. Like, but I'm sitting there thinking I'm gonna die. I already had worries about that area that I was in, and nobody showed up. And realistically, like, that's one of the worst things that's ever happened to me as far as that goes, because, you know, everybody could have watched me on the live stream, something horrible could have happened, and you know what, they all could have called the cops, and the cops just wouldn't have shown up. So by 2 in the morning, I'm super pissed about this, and this is something I should have done, is, like, I should have filmed this part of this, because basically by then I'm like, screw this, dude, I'm calling 911 again, and I'm gonna yell at the dispatcher. Because the fact they didn't send anybody, I could have been dead. I've never been more mad at anyone, because my safety was on the line, and these people didn't take it seriously. Like, it's something that really gets to me, man, because I could have been stabbed. I could have been jumped. They could have stole everything. Nobody cares. I call them. Basically, she says, you need to... I'm like, okay, did you even tell them? And she's like, yeah, I forwarded it to the cop. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it's not your fault then, I guess. I'm not gonna, I can't really yell at you, but I still yelled and got mad because I'm like, you know, who is the, you know, I'm like, where can I complain? And she said I had to call the sheriff. Call the sheriff's office. And when she said that, I was like, really? So I'm gonna call the people who that were supposed to show up, and tell them I'm mad. I was like, this is some corrupt crap. Like, what is this? A small town with a few cops, and they're going to be corrupt, and literally, like, you know, they're just gonna laugh at me. And I started feeling like I was in the movie Texas Chainsaw Massacre. You know, this was a lot like Hills Have Eyes, or Blair Witch, or I don't know, Silent Hill meets any kind of horror movie you could ever imagine, really. There was like a lot of combinations here. of things, right? Like it was horror movie stuff that the cops don't even come. So like you're not, it was pretty terrible. But yeah, so I complained about that, and then I ended up like falling asleep once the sun rose. There's a beautiful fog in the air as the sun was rising, and that was cool. But you know, it really ruined the night. I didn't get to finish my shooting. I was totally freaked out. I thought those people were gonna come back, but they never did. And honestly, they were probably just there to have fun, and I probably scared them more than they scared me. Like, you know, I mean, chasing them down, that's probably a horror story they're going to tell people for the rest of their lives. Just like I'll probably tell people about this for the rest of my lives. But I do not blame Chris. Like, it's not Chris's fault that people showed up on the property. I mean, you can't blame Lake Shawnee. It's a beautiful place. I had a great time there, and I don't know what what you could really do about that. And they're not going to have an on-guard security guard. Don't go to places by yourself is kind of what the moral of that story is. But even with 2 people or more, you wouldn't have had much chance against 6. But yeah, I mean, you know, that was a pretty weird experience. One of the worst of my lives, mixed with one of the best of my lives. My lives. How many lives do I have? I'm not a cat. Yeah, again though, I mean, I would still suggest to go to Lake Shawnee, guys. Like, I love that place. I'm gonna probably go back. I think, you know, those kids were about to go in school, and it was a weekday. It was 3 in the morning. They were clearly smoking weed and drinking because they left beer behind. And so I'm gonna assume that they were, you know, just, you got an ambulance? Somebody's dying. This is a really long video. Okay, nobody will probably ever watch this to the full extent. I won't even watch it, because 26 minutes is freaking long. Okay, well, I think that was pretty much my Lake Shawnee experience. You know, I went until the sun rose, and then I fell asleep at about like 7 in the morning because I couldn't sleep. But once the sun came up, I didn't feel like I needed to leave. I was tempted to leave, but you know, I didn't want to, like, dude, I didn't want to go drive in the mountains. Thankfully, I didn't do that, because the drive in the mountains ended up being a much worse. That was a huge disaster as well. So if I would have done that at night, that would have been a big mistake, because that's like Hills Have Eyes, like terrible, you know. You know, and I talked to a lot of my Facebook friends afterwards, and they were like, dude, that was one of the scariest things I've ever seen, because it was like a horror movie. The video was like a horror movie, but it was real, and like it had nothing to do with the ghosts. It was the people, right? And it's always people, because ghosts aren't gonna hurt you, dude, but people at these areas might. And that's the true lesson, man, is that ghosts aren't scary, the people are scary. And you got to be more cautious of people, because they attack you. Like, yeah, the worst thing people say is that ghosts will possess you, man. And whether that's true or not, I don't really think so. But you know, but the actual, like, ghosts might like tug your hair and mess with you, but like they're not gonna attack you like people will. I'm very lucky those kids didn't come back, and I'm very lucky they didn't stop when I yelled stop. Mostly that, because if they would have stopped when I yelled stop, I would have stood there, gave away the fact that I'm by myself, and would have had no chance, because even with a weapon, you don't have any chance against 6 people. It's very scary. That's part of the problem with traveling by yourself and staying in places by yourself, is you can end up in hairy situations that, you know, I have mace and stuff, and you know, I'm a full-grown man. I can kind of defend myself, but you know, it's never gonna be always that safe. And people all tell me I should have brought people with me. It's like, who should I bring? What do you got, a bunch of people that have money and can come, like, have time to just travel around with me? It's like, dude, no. Like, I wish I had a girlfriend who'd come with me, but the reality is, what, like, in a girlfriend in that scenario, I probably would have killed people, and like that would have been much worse. I'm really glad I didn't have somebody with me, because at least if I die, it's just me. But I'm not gonna, like, I don't want to put some girl through that crap, you know. Not that I'm gonna get a girlfriend that's gonna come with me anyways. At this point, that seems pretty impossible. But this has turned into like the longest rant that like no one's gonna listen to. What a long story. Yeah, guys, and I told Chris about it, and you know, I'm sure he was horrified, dude. The voicemail I left him, he was probably pretty horrified by it. I was terrified. I was literally like cussing and just freaking out. But realistically, that guy's the best, and that place is beautiful, like right in the mountain, a mountain oasis, a beautiful mountain oasis amusement park that is haunted and just really badass. I just had a weird experience. It's a mix of beautiful and scary, which I guess is what you want, right? It's an adventure. I'm on an adventure, you know? So I hope you guys like my story. I'm sure you guys could really like the background. This place, Martha Washington Hotel and Spa. I really wish I could stay here. I mean, it's only 200 bucks a night for a 4-star hotel. So, I mean, this is classy, man. What a beautiful place. And they probably wonder what I'm doing because I'm not staying here. But they don't seem to mind. You know, and if they do, then I'll have a video of them getting mad at me. But I definitely got a beautiful background, you know. I like to do these vlogs in pretty spots. Now I'm just ranting and making this longer. Alright guys, that was my adventure. I'm SparkySINN of SINNX. And join me again for my next vlog. Because now that I'm caught up my vlogs, you know, we can, you know, like, now we can, you know, we can keep going. We can finally, I'll try to keep them up to date. I gotta find a bathroom though, because like all that fountain sounds make me have to go take a tinkle. That's not manly. I gotta piss. I gotta take a piss. As they say in the South. I'm in the South. Alright, I'm a dumbass. Alright guys, have a good one.